Hi, my name is Kim and I am Barbara's daughter. Welcome to my Flosstube channel. It has been a while since I made a video and I have a ton of stuff here to share with you today, so I'm excited to show you what I have been stitching on. I am in my finished basement in my craft area. So the first thing I want to show you is a very quick little look around so you can see where I am and what I've been talking about for pretty much the whole time I've been doing a Flosstube video. So I'm going to insert right here a little tour of my new sewing space. Okay, so I'm standing at the door to the basement and we have like a TV area here with the boys' toys over here and all my Flosstube project bags and everything ready to go for filming. And then this section over here is all mine. I'm very excited to have so much space for crafting. So over here is a cabinet hanging on the wall that my grandfather built, and the idea was he built it for my mom and she didn't have a lot of space, I guess, so it folds up. The table actually folds up and latches onto the cabinet. I'm going to just probably leave it down, but that's where my sewing machine is right now, and I have just a little ironing station next to it. And I haven't really decorated anything yet, but I have a few things up there. I have a lot of wall space I have to hang stuff on. I just have a table here with a quilt project that I started, and I'm following what I think I saw Christy from Crosshatch Quilts doing and using these bins from IKEA or Michael's and holding my different quilting projects. So you can see I've got one started there. I'm cutting something out here. And then I also have, I think, 3 different things in this cart. This is my cutting station. And on the side, I just have a IKEA cabinet for some batting and things. I have more stuffing. That's my favorite stuffing, cluster stuff. You can get it at Walmart. It's cheaper at Walmart than on Amazon. These are my patterns, cross-stitch patterns that I'm not currently using. And of course, every good finisher needs some crushed walnut shells, right? And then this cabinet, I saw, I think Lori Holt has it, Kimberly Jolly from Fat Quarter Shop has it, I think Christy Java Girl Stitches has it. It's from Hobby Lobby. And I mean, I just recently got mine, so they still have them there. And I have all of my floss in here. So it's just kind of a mess by brand in each drawer. So that's Gentle Arts, that's Weeks, and Classic Colorworks up top. And then I have other drawers with Victorian Motto, and I kind of did that by color as best I could. All that's on floss rings, and I just pull the bin out when I want to look for colors. Then I've got fabrics in these drawers and DMC sorted by hundreds in baggies. And those are the fabrics I use most often, but I have some other fabric that is mostly Aida, or like this one I accidentally bought. It's opalescent Aida, so I'll find something sparkly to do on that. So that's what's housed in this cabinet. And then I've got more IKEA shelving here. And these are just also quilt projects that I've started and not finished over the years. Look at all those tiny little squares. Somebody has to sew them all together. Bins up top with quilt patterns, craft patterns, cross-stitch patterns. Here's a crochet project I've been working on or not working on. Some project bags and things. And then over here I have 2 cabinets, again from IKEA, and I just wanted something where I could have doors closed up so my fabric wouldn't get too dusty. I don't have a huge stash of fabric, but I have some. And so that's in there. And this one just has like miscellaneous everything in here, beads and felt and another quilt project down there. So I have plenty of room for more stuff in this cabinet. And over here, I just have a cabinet that I used to have upstairs, and it had like china stuff in it. Now I have some quilt and cross stitch finishes in there. Gifts from people. And then this cabinet is another Hobby Lobby cabinet. It has a bunch of drawers. 2 at the bottom are bigger. So I just have like my thread in one drawer and scissors and needles and stuff. I just saw Kimberly at Fat Quarter Shop did a video on how she stores floss at Fat Quarter Shop, and she was storing floss in here. And I thought that was actually a really good idea. So I don't know, I did think about switching this cabinet and the one I have over there where my floss and fabric is, but we'll see, it's fine for now. This is my featherweight. This is Rose. I think I posted her on Instagram. My mom bought me this featherweight for my 30th birthday, and she got me this table that it sits in. So I just have like a cover that I made to stay over her when she's not being used so she doesn't get dusty. And that's really it. Like I said, I've got to hang some pictures over here and over here. I have some quilts I could hang, but I'm really very happy and fortunate to have, I feel very fortunate to have this much space to work on my projects. So thanks for taking a look at my sewing room, and I'll send you back to my regular Flosstube now. So the last time I did a Flosstube video was actually April 25th, according to my Stitchy book. And I have been stitching and quilting and doing some crocheting, and so I have all that to share with you today. And I'm gonna start just by going through the cross stitch that I have been doing since April. So when I did that last Flosstube, I don't remember if I showed you this, but either I had started or I just started on that day after doing my Flosstube. This Redwork sampler by Moho Stitches, and I had bought this from, I think it was when Needlework Expo happened, but then I saw Lori from Mischievous Stitches stitched it, and she's finished it by now, but I have apparently just squirrels everywhere. Every time I start a project, I end up working on it for 2 or 3 days and then doing something different. So I haven't finished it yet, but I'm gonna show you what it looks like so far. This is stitched on 36 count Hog's Bristle by Fox and Rabbit, and I'm using a Gloriana silk Schoolhouse Red, but it's the Floramel silk. I don't know what that means, but it's different than the regular silk, I guess. And that is where I've gotten on it. I'm not sure that the color is really, this is more like what the color is. It's more of a golden color than it looks when I get up close. So this seems to be pretty close to the actual color there. So that is Redwork Sampler. And because I have so many projects, I'm just gonna take a minute and zip them all up into the bags as I go. So the next thing I worked on was my Modern Folk Embroidery Stitch Along Flowers of Plenty, Fruit of Plenty. And this is what it's gonna look like when it's done. So he has released all the way up through July, which gets you down to here, but I only finished April. So this is what I have so far. And this is being stitched with Mrs. Sadis Silks in the number, I think it's 14, yep, the number 14. And this is, I'm gonna have to look. I know it's 36 count, and I think it's Picture This Plus, but I'm just gonna look back in my January, when I must have started it in January, right? Maybe I started it in February. I did. Oh, it's Ale by Picture This Plus. So that's the fabric that I'm using for this project. And I actually really love the color of the floss together with the fabric. And even though I ironed it, it is sort of still wrinkly, so I'm not sure how well you can see the stitching there. But I'm behind on this one, so I need to do May, June, and now July is out. So I will have to do all of those and catch up. But I just keep finding more things I want to stitch. So we'll get there. The next thing that I decided I wanted to do was a little patriotic stitch. This is Stitching with the Housewives, America the Beautiful. And when I stitch on black, I usually use 18 count Aida because that is easier for me to see. So I really love the way the white pops off of black fabric. I have to do the rest of the words, and that goes across here too. And then there's just like a flower border all the way around the other side. So I enjoyed working on that flag. So we'll work on that. Obviously I didn't make it for the 4th of July, but it'll get done and up for next year. All right. And also, so for that, I am using the called for colors on 18 count black Aida. The next thing I decided to do is work on one of the 9 loose feathers for the birds by Blackbird Designs. And I was really sorry to hear the other day, I guess it was yesterday, that I saw on Instagram that Barb from Blackbird Designs had passed away. So I really was sorry to hear that, and sending out my best thoughts and prayers for her family and Alma. I know that they were very close friends. So I liked how a lot of people were putting the hashtag when they were like memorializing her in posts on Instagram. They were putting the hashtag "What Remains Is Love," which is that I actually have it in my haul, that recent exclusive from Blackbird Designs, and I just think that's a really great phrase when you're talking about losing someone, that what remains is still the love that you had for that person, and for a hobby that, you know, I certainly didn't know Barbara, but we share the same hobby and love for stitching. So, so this one is She Sights a Bird, and that's where I am. I have to finish this bird here and put in the cat, and I wasn't sure I was going to do the cat at first. We had cats growing up. I haven't as an adult had a cat. I like cats, but I just don't have one right now. And I was like, should I put the cat? Should I not put the cat? I don't have a cat. I decided it was actually, I was going to take this bird and move it down here and put the small bird up here and kind of like put in some other little flowery things. And then I said, you know what? I'm just gonna stitch it as it's charted. It looks better. This is the called for colors, and it's 36 count Picture This plus sand. And there are 9 of them. I'm gonna stitch them all individually, and I bought white frames on Amazon that I'm going to paint and have like a little collage of all 9 of them. So I really love stitching on those. I love the colors. It's a lot of blues, but also just a lot of like greens and browns, and I like those. Okay, so my stitchy group was doing a Biscornu project and finishing it together, which I did not finish it. So, but once I finish it, stitching it that is, I can work on the actual finishing of the Biscornu, because most of us had not done that before. So this is Heartstring Samplery's Brown Bird Biscornu. And you stitch 2 sides. So that's the back or the bottom, and that's the front. So I started the front, and this is on 36 count Brenda's Brew, I believe. Let me just make sure. I think I'm going out of order, so now I can't, oh, here it is. Yes, Brenda's Brew with the called for threads. So I have to do 3 more birds and the 2, finish the 2 flowers in those corners and the little 1 stitch border around the edge, and then I can do the back of this. So I really like the colors in that. I am, did I say I was using cold 4 threads? I don't think I am actually. I think I'm mostly using them, but I didn't have all of them, so I think the pink and red color are just from Stash. And I want to show you kind of in the middle here, because I'm just going in order of my what I was stitching. The next thing I stitched is actually an FFO, so I'm gonna grab that and show you that next. So I don't have the pattern for this, but the next thing I stitched was another Blackbird design, and it's Lady Liberty, and I made it into a drum. Of course, I followed Vanna Pfeiffer's tutorial, because if you're gonna follow a tutorial, that's the one to follow. And look how good I did the stars. They actually matched. Very proud moment in my life. And I did not do the top. The top has like a lady holding a flag, and partly I just didn't love the design, and partly I was kind of lazy, and I was like, oh look, I'll just put this nice fabric here, and same fabric on the bottom. And then I did the, I think it's supposed to be called a herringbone stitch. I'm not very good at it, so I'm not sure if we can really call it a herringbone stitch, but I attempted. And yeah, love that flag. So cool, like it's blowing in the wind. So I'm really excited about having that done. I also did another pattern by Blackbird that I can't show you because it was a gift. So somebody out there in my Stitchy group will get it, and then I can show you. We're doing a smalls exchange for July. And so once that's over, I can show you maybe on my next Flosstube the picture of what I did for that. All right, next I was on a Blackbird kick. I started working on Summer Jubilee by Blackbird, and I didn't have a dark gray like this color, so I decided to try this brown called Spice by Picture This Plus. It's 36 count. And I'm using some of the called for colors and some from my stash. And this is what I have so far. You can see the colors a little bit better in person than what's showing up on the screen. But I just have a start on that, and when you get to the end of the vine here, that's where like the flower pot is in the middle, so that's kind of the center of the design. It's actually a little smaller than I realized. So I actually really like it on this color. It's something different. I've never stitched on this dark of a brown fabric before, so I'm enjoying that. And I don't know if I said, but those are some called for colors if I had them, and the rest I just grabbed from colors I had in my stash. Just put this away. What I did was I got as many of the called for colors for the whole book as I could, because I want to stitch almost everything in that book. It's called Summer Jubilee by Blackbird. So I grabbed all the colors I could, and then filled the rest in from my stash. Okay, next I stitched on my toy soldier stocking. That's for my son Sam, and I finished the whole nutcracker and the top part. So now I'm just gonna have to do this down here, which is a lot, but we are really getting there. So here is the stocking so far. I'll hold it up a little closer in a minute, but this way you can see the entire thing. And yeah, so I put his name up top and finished the nutcracker. Now I'm not doing any of the back stitching, at least not yet. I don't know that he needs it, quite frankly. And this is being stitched on 36 count, and it calls for 36 count, I feel like Wren maybe, Picture This Plus. Let me see. Oh no, doubloon. This is 26, I can't talk today, 28 count doubloon from Picture This Plus. And I only used one strand, and the coverage is fine for me. I think it looks a little bit vintagey because it's not super saturated. So I'm enjoying stitching that, and I definitely think that I can get this finished and fully finished for Christmas this year. So have one stocking done. All right, I then decided to have a new start because I saw Brenda from Brenda and the Serial Starter, Brenda and Laura. I saw her finish the, I think it's Scarlet House, let me check. Yeah, Scarlet House Floral Motif Sampler. And I decided I was gonna do that too. So I have the called for colors, and I have 36 count driftwood by Silk Weaver, and this is my start on that. And it is a lot of fun because every single motif is like a little bit different. You can just do one or two and stop, and the colors are really nice. They're not really showing up as nice as they really are in person, but I'm enjoying it. It's a nice, a really nice pattern to stitch. So that is that. And then the next thing I did was a restart. So I had started A Savior's Praise 2 years ago, and this is by Shakespeare's Peddler, and it looks like this. I'm sure you've seen it. And I didn't have the called for fabric, but it said that flax would be a good substitute. So I got flax, and I got the DMC threads, which are an alternate. The actual called for threads are anchor threads. But I got DMC just because that's what I was used to using. And I got the flax and I stitched on it, and I got, I don't know, like pretty much all the way across to this. And I might have done even more past that big vase at the top. And I had done some of the alphabet, and I didn't like the way that the DMC colors were looking. So I was like using them, but switching them in spots. And I just didn't like it. And I put it away for like 2 years. So clearly I was not going to finish this as is. So I restarted it. And I now have Color and Cotton Light Brown Sugar, which is my favorite Color and Cotton fabric, and 36 count, of course. And I am using the called for anchor threads in the called for spots. And there's a couple weeks dye works too. And this is what I have so far with my restart. Let me move my floss out of the way here. So with my restart, it's a lot of green, like that actually looks like it's white, but that's a very light green and brown, and then there's like pops of red and blue to come. So I'm really enjoying this much more in these colors and on this fabric. So I'm happy I restarted it, and I'm gonna keep going on that one. It will probably take a long time to get finished. It is a huge sampler, but I am really happy that I went ahead and restarted it. All right, and I think that is all of the cross stitch that I have done recently. So I'm just going to show you some of the quilting things I've done and a little crochet. Okay, so I have been working on an Afghan for my family room. We just painted upstairs after we finished the basement. We moved on to working on redoing the upstairs. And I found a woman, I can't remember her name, so I'm gonna try and insert it here. And I will link to her Instagram below. She also has an Etsy store, and you can buy her patterns. They're very inexpensive. And so I bought a pattern that called for, like, I think it was the moss stitch. So I think it was the marbled moss stitch blanket or something. So I'll link that below. But I liked it because you carry the threads, the yarn threads up the side. And so I'm terrible at like weaving in the ends. I feel like they always come like poking out afterwards. So in this case, what we're doing is stitching this, and when you have to change colors, you just leave that color kind of hanging and pull up the next color. And as you move up the blanket, the colors move up the sides. And then there's a border that you stitch around the whole blanket so that you hide those that you have brought up the sides. So it's pretty small so far. I haven't gotten very far, but you can see here, I have been carrying those colors, and I'm just gonna do a border that's gonna tack those in when I'm done. It was a little bit to get used to, as far as I have 4 skeins of yarn hanging off of this. And so I just keep everything in a bag that sits on the floor next to my couch when I'm crocheting. And as I start a new color, I just make sure it's not tangled up in the other 3 colors, and it works out fine. So I'm working on this, but I can't crochet very long without my wrist hurting. I'm left-handed, but I crochet right-handed, so my right wrist will eventually start hurting. I can't do more than like maybe 5 or 6 rows at a time. So I just do 5 or 6 rows every time I think about it, and then put it away. It'll eventually get done. But I actually really like a granny square pattern. It's actually for a bag, but I feel like I'm gonna make a blanket out of it. So I'll link that one below too. She's making, like I said, a tote bag out of it, but I think you could absolutely take the squares and make more and make a blanket out of it. So I might do something like that with similar colors as well, eventually. I've been doing some quilting. So I bought this book. I think I've shown this on another video, Scrap School. And it's a whole bunch of different, like 12 different designs, and each one's from a different quilter who are very well known. And I like almost every, like I would do just about every quilt in this book. And so the one that I did first, because I have a blue and white thing going on in my new scheme in my family room, is this one. And let's see if it's a better picture if I show you this. And so I made that, and it probably won't, I won't be able to show you the whole thing here, but I have to show you what will fit in the camera, and then I'll insert a picture here with the entire quilt laid out on the floor. So this was the first quilt I made down here in my new space, and I really enjoyed having the room for it and not having to put anything away when I was done for the day. Everything could just kind of stay out until the next time I came to work on it. So that was great. And I am, as I showed you in my little tour, working on a whole bunch of other quilts too. I have to quilt this one, which I will do eventually. My mom, she has a long arm quilting machine, so I'll go over there and quilt this one. But I sort of feel like there's a couple others I want to finish and then go and do them all at the same time. The last thing that I worked on for quilting is I got into doing English paper piecing, and I found a quilter on Instagram. Her name is Helen Phillips, and I'll link her below. And she had a pattern to do hexagons, an English paper pieced hexagon quilt. So I looked at it and kind of took some, I bought the pattern, I looked at the pattern and took some of her ideas, and I'm adjusting it a little bit. I wanted my hexagons to be a little bigger, so I would do fewer of them, because I wanted the quilt also to be a little bit bigger than hers, I think. So this is one set of hexagons. And what you do is you make a bunch of these, and then you take white hexagons and you put them in between all the way around. And then you put another color set next to it, and so on and so forth. So it's like 3 across and then 4 across in the next row, you offset them. So I am using, I don't know how well this will show up because it's white, but there's an iron-on hexagon paper from, I got it at Fat Quarter Shop, and I'll link it below. And I really like this because you iron it on, you sew it, or you glue it. I've been sewing. I did buy the glue, but I'm not sure how it works yet. I haven't gotten it yet. You keep these in, and then, so you sew these all 7 together, and then you sew the whole quilt together. And then if you wash the quilt, they sort of like dissolve a little bit into like a soft kind of fiber that just stays in your quilt. So I like this a lot better than using a traditional paper piecing template that you would then have to take out, whether it's like a wax paper type thing or a plastic template. This I really like. So I use the 1.5 inch ones, which means one side is 1.5 inch. I think that Helen's original pattern had the 1 inch ones, so those are somewhat smaller. But this is just kind of like a nice project to take along if I don't feel like cross stitching one day. I can just bring my bag of paper piecing and work on a few hexagons. So I'm interested to see how the glue works, because I think that would save a little bit of time, not having to sew around each hexagon. All right, the last thing I have is just some haul, and I didn't save it all since April because I actually showed you some of my whips that I had been using, some of the haul that I had bought. But I did get a few things that I will share with you. So I got And to All a Good Night by Stitching with the Housewives. And I really like this, but I'm kind of interested in doing it on a like a dark beige and using black for the words, and maybe changing those houses to be like red instead of aqua, or like it looks like there's 2 red roofs and 2 aqua roofs, so maybe I would do like 2 colors. I'm not sure. I'm gonna mess around with it. So later today I'm probably gonna like hit that up with some different flosses and see what it might look like. I also got Plum Street Samplers Bowl Full of Mary's Mary 1. So that's just going into the patterns I like, but probably not starting right now. And then I got a big project here that I have been looking at for a long time, and it's Anne Uffendell by Hands Across the Sea Samplers. I love this pattern, and I will eventually start it. I have, I don't remember the name of it. It's the one with the big parrot in the middle that everyone calls Walter. It's a pigeon. It's not a parrot. It's a big pigeon in the middle. And I'll put a picture here. I don't remember the name of it. But I'm working on that one, and it's big, and it's just at the beginning stages. So I don't want to start this until I get, I don't want to say finished necessarily, but more progress on that other big one. And then finally, I bought the pattern and the threads for What Remains Is Love, Blackbird Designs. This is a exclusive pattern with traditional stitches. And I have, like I said, the called for threads. And I have a 36 count latte by XJU Designs that I'm going to use for this one. Let's see if I can show you what that will look like. So that's about the right color. This is a little bit different. They use Weeks Dye Works straw, so it's less, this is less like goldeny colored, but I think it's gonna work out great. So I want to get that started too. So many projects, so little time, right? Okay, I think that's everything on my table here. So I'd just like to say thank you for watching. Sorry it's been so long since I filmed a video. Hopefully it won't be that long again. I'm on break from my master's courses this week, and then I start my last 2 classes next Sunday. So 7 weeks and I'm done for good, which should result in a lot more time for stitching. So I'm looking forward to that. And I hope you are all well and enjoying your stitching. And thanks again for watching. See you soon. Bye-bye.